Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am PANCZASU and welcome back, it's Roving Clans again with the playthrough slash tutorial. I'm sorry, I keep making their videos, but I decided that, you know what, since I'm having so much fun showing you all the trickery of this devious faction, I just want to go ahead and finish the playthrough before I go back to Ardent Mages. Now that's not to say I'm not enjoying my Ardent Mages playthrough, no. In fact, Ardent Mages are my favorite faction in Endless Legend. However, you have to admit, this playthrough is something else, so I believe it deserves all of our attention right about now. Now, you all may also be noticing that, hey, it's winter, it's 10:62, and what on earth happened? Why is it so late? Well, let's put it this way, I already recorded a video yesterday, but unfortunately there were two problems with it. First, it had quite a few technical difficulties, which, while did still allow me to record, were hindering the quality of the recording quite a bit. And secondly, I just wasn't satisfied with my commentary last video or with what I have shown you and whatnot, and I decided that in the end it is not worth it to upload that video at all. So what I did is I loaded up the earliest autosave I could find, so I went as far back as humanly possible. And yeah, and we're playing from this point further on. Don't worry, you have not missed a whole lot, and what you have missed I'm going to discuss in a second now. So first things first, you may be noticing that I moved some Rio a little bit. That's because I was making a point that when cities can walk, they will still grow population even though they are walking, but only for one turn. If they are walking for any longer than just one turn, then they will stop growing population. It's a little nifty trick that you can do when you just want to move slightly, like for example I did right here. So, and I moved because this way I gained access to a river faster than usual, because usually I would have to wait for Barrow Streets to actually gain access to this river right there. And I will need river because I'm about to finish my fish farm. Now, additionally, I now have quite a few heroes in my empire, by which I mean I have 5. As you can see, I have indeed hired 2 Broken Lords heroes, and I have also equipped them with the tome made of glass steel, which increases the amount of dust this hero gains, or rather gives, to a city, which is fairly important because while it doesn't say so on the side here because of an interface bug, this hero on his own, I hired him despite the fact that he's got general-like abilities, because he also by himself gives any of my city extra 1 dust per population walking on dust. He is in Avenues right now, and as you can see he is giving me currently not only extra 2 dust per population from him being a Broken Lord's hero with this particular ability, he also gives me extra 4 dust per population as a result of him having this particular token that he has on him. And in fact, if I'm kind of surprised that this population is not walking on dust, it might be because I was moving it around previously. Anyway, what I want to do is let him finish working on Titanium Extractor, and then I'll move all this population back into dust production, because I want to have as much dust as possible, because I do plan on hiring a bunch of mercenaries fairly soon-ish. And because we're talking about mercenaries already, I think it's a good point to actually go ahead and show you how the technology tree is looking right now. I do have sailing, which I'll talk about in a second. I'm also almost done on the open pit mine, which is very important since I do have actually a few sources of dyes in my empire. And I really desperately need to start gathering some of those luxuries so I can then later sell them on the marketplace, because I'll probably not use them too much. They are not too useful for me because I only have dyes and I don't need extra influence too much, but it's still, a good idea to at the very least have them. And you also have to keep in mind, this will work in combination with the abilities of, where are they? With the abilities of my Broken Lords heroes. For example, this ability in particular I'm talking about, Mining Authority, it increases the amount of resources you gain from mines. This, I'm fairly certain, also works with luxuries, so this hero doesn't have this ability yet because of the abilities he had when I hired him. Those were those 2 abilities, so I only just gave him the Aquatic Dust. However, I also have a second Broken Lords hero who is a very fresh purchase, who already has Mining Authority, as you can see. He unfortunately doesn't have the amazing bonus that gives my population extra dust, and hold on a second. Oh, I must have just hired him in this save, I see, because he doesn't have any of his items just yet. And yeah, as you can also tell, he doesn't increase the amount of dust I get from city unless I equip him with the equipment that I just gave him. Either way, he's still very useful because of his ability to increase the amount of resources I gain, and I have put him in a region that is giving me some extra glass steel, which is very important. I have spent quite a bit of glass steel on making fish farms in 3 of my cities that I believe are very worth it. Fish farms, just to remind you, I gained from a quest. It's a technology that I did not research. I gained it from a quest that forced me to buy out... where are they? The high towers in this city, and I gained the technology of fish farms in return. So because of this, I bought fish farms in 3 of my cities because they have quite a few rivers in the regions, and fish farms will allow my cities to grow very fast, which I believe is worth the cost of glass steel. You also have to keep in mind that while my faction quest does force me to have 60 of both strategic and luxury resource in my empire, it will be very easy and quick for me to regain the glass steel I used, and I'll very quickly have 60 of it again, whereas it will be fairly difficult to actually go up to the 60 luxury stockpile in any of the luxuries I have, because I didn't have any luxury gain, and as you can see on the marketplace, there aren't too many luxuries that I can buy, with the one exception of emeralds, of which there are only 8 still, so that doesn't help me at all. But we can also talk about the quests, and those quests are fairly interesting. I'm fairly certain most of them you have already seen on the camera. Of course, we are stuck on the main faction quest, but there are some interesting ones. For example, I can get the exotic alloys if I go ahead and conquer a certain city. I have no idea which city this quest is talking about. That is the problem, because it's not actually revealed on the map, but if I find it and conquer it, then I'll gain exotic alloys, which will be very nice unless I already gain a better technology by that point, which is also a possibility. Other quest which I'm focusing on right now is just kill monsters in the ruins for 20 blood crystal, very useful, because I'll be there able to sell it, or maybe gain enough of it to actually use this to fulfill my main faction quest, which is also a possibility. Additionally, I am supposed to destroy an Erekis village. Yeah, about that. Erekis, they are very strong. I might hold on that. I'm not going to bring back glass steel to Ursus tribe because it only gives me pacification, and also, while exotic filigree would be absolutely amazing, it would require me to build a watchtower, which is the technology I cannot afford to go for right now, because there are other technologies I need to focus on first, that being the privateers that I want to use to actually go ahead and invade somebody. Who is this somebody going to be? Well, it looks like this particular save is where I noticed that there is somebody nearby. As you can see, there is this blue region right there, and this color should be familiar to you, as well as this particular structure we can see nearby. Those are the other mages. They are right there. And yeah, we'll be the best of friends, except I'm planning to backstab them very quickly. But basically the way it works is I gain the ability to sail, so I sent several Kasai units on the sea to try and find me some very useful islands. Why do I consider islands very useful? That's because AI usually is very slow with colonizing islands. Same goes for people actually in multiplayer. They often ignore islands for quite a fairly long period of time. And this island, for example, yeah, it's actually fairly useful. It has a dye deposit, it has Jotus that are seriously underpowered in my opinion, but still, it is an island that is right next to me, as you can see, and I only needed sailing to discover it. Unfortunately, I couldn't discover it whole because Jotus actually killed my scout, but hey, it happens, I guess. So anyway, what I'm going to do with this then is just go ahead and continue scouting around, and something very important that you need to keep in mind is that when your cities are on the sea, they are absolutely and completely safe. There's nothing that can happen to them, nothing will ever try to destroy them, whatnot, because there is no naval combat in this game, and there will not be anytime soon. Maybe in an expansion in a year or so, maybe, the devs will decide to actually bring in naval combat, but before then, they have said on several occasions that they are not planning to have naval combat in this game whatsoever, and I personally do not mind this at all. I don't think that Endless Legend really needs naval combat per se. It would be nice, but it's not necessary. It's just, you know, would be nice to have it, but I seriously do not care if I have it or not. I seriously do not. There are other things that I believe are far more important to think about right now. Anyway, with this particular scout, I'm just trying to scout around what the Broken Lords have without walking on land, because every attempt that I made to try and walk on land towards the Broken Lords Empire has been shut down completely, purely because, well, there are too many neutral monsters, you know, moving around, and while I could amass an army to kill them, right now, as you can see, I do not have such an army. I do have some divisions right there, but it's not enough, and I'll probably sacrifice them to try and kill the monsters within this layer right there. By sacrifice, I do not necessarily mean sacrifice, but yeah, I will let them die. Sorry. Anyway, I can now gather some luxuries, which is very nice. Let's have a quick look at which cities can actually give me luxuries. This city has a dye extractor, very nice. Let's make sure I'll get it before the Dust Dredger, because it's very important to start gathering dyes as quickly as possible. No dyes. Wait, what? There are dyes in here. Why are you lying to me? Okay. Oh, it was there. I'm just a blind fool. Okay, never mind then. There are dyes over here, and I'll gather them as quickly as possible after I create the extractor. So let's move my population like so-ish. Come on, there we go. And I should be able to gather them at a very fast pace. And this region, I don't think it has any dyes. Indeed, it does not. So let's just continue making slaves to sell the marketplace. And in fact, I'm also going to create this army and send it over to Avnis so I can merge it with the emerging army in Avnis. And sorry, and then send them to try and go ahead and kill those monsters in the spoiled ruins, and then also wind back and try and go ahead and kill the Ericus right there. Meanwhile, I'm going to go ahead and continue scouting around this continent and see what else lies in it. Right now, I'm not really so keen on walking land over there, because all sorts of nasty baddies could live on those lands, and my Kasai would simply die very quickly. So before I land, I want to see exactly how the shorelines of this continent look like, so I know where I can land, what kind of players I can expect to meet, and so on and so forth. Now, I have made the other majors, but since I do not have any technology options, I mean diplomacy options are locked, I cannot really do anything with them, with the exception of closed borders, which makes no difference because those guys cannot sail just now, and I can also ban them from using the marketplace. Again, an option that I don't want to use because they're probably not using this option anyway, so what's the point of wasting my precious influence? There is none. That's the answer to this question. So as you can see, we're just waiting for the winter to finish. It's fairly annoying that it is here because it's slowing my growth quite considerably. It is of course slowing the growth of other empires, but Roving Clans, they do need their food quite a bit, so it is fairly annoying that the winter has struck, but regardless we can proceed. Now this hero, I have no idea which hero it is, to be completely honest, because they all look alike to me. So this guy is Solia Torture 2, that's the guy in the Sombriel, alright. So if that's the guy in Sombriel, what do I want to give to him? Well, I have talked about this for sure in the past. Wild Walker's hero have some very good abilities that help them govern the cities. So what do I want? I can either go for a Jack of all trades, that is in fact a really good ability, or I can just flat out focus on production. Thing is though, right now in Sombriel, I do not really need to have too much production. All structures I want to make over there are currently made. However, as soon as the city reaches 10 population, I'll start some heavy work. Wait, what? That's not English, let's try again. I'll start work quite heavily. That's borderline acceptable, whatever. I'll start walking, let's just say it this way. I'll start walking on borrow streets. I'll create a triangle because with the population, I consider the city to have more than enough than what it needs to actually have an efficient triangle. Well, it will not be an efficient triangle per se, but it will be fairly good, and I'll start getting some extra science, which is something that I need. As I said before, Roving Clans are not desperate for science. They can work quite well without the use of science. Hey, can I please upgrade him? Thank you. However, it is still nice to have science as Roving Clans because you don't want to be too far back now, do you? Also, you need to reach Era 3 as quickly as possible so that you can gather some more exotic luxury resources, which is very important in my eyes. So, what do you want on this hero? Considering the fact that I will indeed be producing a lot of districts in the future, I am actually... what is that? Oh, building production, cost reduction, and... this will be useful once I'm almost done finishing the triangle, because as I said in the past, the districts do gain more expensive as they create them, so the more districts they have, the more expensive they are. But gaining this much extra production on the city would be fairly substantial. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do that. Also because this here already has access to Roads of Destiny improvement, I mean artifact and whatnot. So he's already giving me a lot of industry by himself. So this is only going to make it even better. So, in 3 turns I'll have my extra population, which is good. Then I'll just go ahead and start massive production on bar suits, and I should be gaining all the dust and science I want from just a single city alone, whereas my other cities will happily provide me with even more slaves for my future cheap labor, and also for the dust that I can gain from the marketplace, which will be very useful for manipulating said marketplace and making sure I gain all the best deals. Alright, meanwhile I'm going to continue scanning around looking for more islands and also for the continent, although right now I care about islands more than I care about any continents, if you know what I mean. I mean, you do know what I mean, you're not stupid, are you? You certainly are not. Alright, you didn't? Oh, you still have more movement. Well, so like so then, let's go ahead and finish my turn. As you can see, I'm trying to speed through those turns as quickly as possible, because right now we are in this period of game where there is much happening. I'm very far away from any players, so no war is brewing, and I do not have the mercenaries yet to attack anybody. So while I'm working on it, I'm just not doing anything else really. I'm trying to amass more armies, increase the power of my empire, and prepare for war that will inevitably come since I'm a warmonger. But that's pretty much about it. There isn't much else I need to do, and there isn't much else I even can do. So as you can obviously understand, yeah, I'm just buying time and preparing an amazing army. Speaking of army, I think do we want to have a bit of a battle? Yeah, why not? It has been a while since we've had a battle. And in all honesty, I just kinda want to see how those units kill each other, even though I'm not going to plan too well for this battle, because I couldn't be bothered. I don't care if my units die or live, they're not too useful for me. I mean, they are useful, they're just not dear to my heart, if you know what I mean. Still, I'll try to make sure that I don't lose too many of them. So, I want to attack with maximum charge that I can gain. So this unit has 5 speed right now, and with there, I'm fairly certain does not matter in combat. So, let's calculate things. I can move 1, 2, 3... 4 tiles, but this is a forest, so I'm fairly certain it will sap all of my movement. I'm not sure actually when forest saps movement, if it saps movement before you enter it or after. Either way, let's think about it again. If I start from this tile, then I move 1 tile, 2 tiles, 3 tiles, 4 tiles, and I think I should be able to move 5 tiles. But either way, I'll try to move this guy like so. I'll try to move to this tile. Regardless, he will attack one of those rumblers, and he will stun lock one of them, which means that my other dervishes will have to stun both of the others, so that I can indeed make sure that they are all stun locked. So you go ahead and stay over there. What kind of accent was that? I have no idea. Then you can move like 1 tile, 2 tiles, 1 tile, 2 tiles, 3 tiles, 4 tiles. That's not optimal, but if I move over here, is that a forest? It's hard to tell, to be honest, but I think I can move like so, and then I'll tell him to move over there, and he should attack with a charge and disable this. I'm actually not sure which rumbler he'll disable. It doesn't matter. I'll win this battle regardless. I'll have plenty of reinforcements, so let's just go ahead and fight. I do want to have a single Kasai somewhere, preferably somewhere where he can actually fire. So let's make sure that he stands like here-ish. That's fine, and I'll tell him to move. I don't want to move too close to the enemy rumblers, so let's make sure that he stands like more or less over here, so that he's not in the way of any of my units. Actually, here is okay. And let's ready for combat. So now I have to adjust my troops to deployment. I'm targeting, so you go ahead. He can only walk over here, that's okay though. I'll move like so, and I actually forgot, I also need to chain lock those guys. But then again, do I really? I'll just lose some dervishes. Is that a really big problem? It's not for me. So let's go ahead and make sure that this guy moves like so, because that's as far as he can possibly go. That's very nice. He'll attack with full charge and possibly kill this guy. This Kasai is going to go ahead and try and kill this guy. This dervish, it's hard to see how far he can move on the snow. But it looks like he can move to this town, but he cannot move to this town. Alright, you move over there and attack whichever rumbler you see fit. Either way, I should be able to kill this guy and stun lock this one, because this guy is my last dervish and he'll move over here. So he will stun lock the only surviving rumbler, so it's all good. Now what Kasai... Hey, Paro, get back here. Now what Kasai do I have left that are not assigned any orders? This is one of them. So you just say, can you make it to any of those other rumblers? No, indeed you cannot. So let's make sure that you walk to... There isn't any optimal tower, is there? Alright, move like over here-ish, that's fine. As for you, dear sir, can you stunlock any of the other guys? No, or you already have an order. So it looks like everything is queued up. Actually, no, there's one more Kasai. Yeah, that's the other Kasai I have over here. So where can you move? Actually, I'm just gonna move him to a place where he can attack the enemy from maximal distance. So you move to this town, and then he'll hopefully charge at one of those two rumblers for maximal damage. And those rumblers will be able to attack the dervishes that walk to those towns. And since those guys have a sweep ability that is for some reason not listed in the UI, they will be able to kill both of my dervishes really easily. You know what? I just don't care, because I have so much production and so many Kasai. Why should I bother? I'll just let my units die and that's not a big problem for me, since as I said, I don't need them and I will not be in a war anytime soon. I am planning to use my mercenaries to kill the enemy, and yeah, I just don't need those dervishes right now, so I'm just sending them to die. If this was a more important battle, surely I would, you know, plan a little bit better before this fight. For example, right now it looks like this dervish will not be actually able to attack this rumbler because this dervish is in its way, but it's still okay because I just don't care if my units live or die. It's as simple as that. I'll just let them all suicide into the enemy ranks without using the amazing charger. Oh wait. Oh yeah, they have dispatch movement. Never mind, it's all good. Either way, as I said, one rumbler dies, one is stun locked, and the other two will be able to kill a lot of my dervishes. And as I said before as well, I still don't care. I just don't need those units. Sure, I could keep them alive to sell them for extra dust on the marketplace, but that's not a lot of extra dust, and I seriously just do not believe it is a really important feature for me right now. It's something that is nice, but not necessary for me. And I don't feel like I need to play absolutely optimal right now. So with that being said, let me just take a quick sip of my juice, because it's a hot day and I need to drink. So give me a second. That's a bit more than a sip, I'm sorry. Whoa, but this juice is absolutely delicious. Oh boy. I can't get over how delicious it is. Either way, as I can see, the enemy armies are being completely surrounded and stun-locked, which is nice. Looks like my dervishes are doing fairly well with their charges. Obviously not optimal, and they are all dying one by one, but I still am pretty certain that I am going to decisively win this battle and kill all the enemy dervishes and enemy rumblers, I mean. And while I will lose some dervishes, I don't care too much. Although, seeing how many of them are lost and how the enemy is still getting reinforcements, I might actually try to think a bit harder next time. Oh well, actually I still don't care, because I have a Roving Clans, not Roving Clans, I have a Broken Lords hero, and this guy, if you remember is a really good... Actually, you may not remember, so I'll just quit this battle and show you exactly. This guy is a really good general, not only because he buffs himself and the army quite well with the extra life and extra defense, but he's just in general a really nice guy stat-wise. He's got a lot of attack, defense, critical initiative and life. He's just a really tough bastard that is very hard to break. So it is actually one of the reasons why I put him in this city. It's because I knew that there will be rumblers that I'm going to fight, and he's just so good on the battlefield that he can just walk right in the middle of the enemy units and just murder all of them and not even care. So you just go ahead and attack the hell of his target because you can. Meanwhile, as for my dervishes, you dear says... I'm sorry. You dear says, go back a little. Actually, how far back can you go? Just go back as far as possible. Oh no, you can go back this far. Let's say you just also go back, like let's say over here. I do not see where I can go, where I cannot go, which is yet another reason why I'm not, you know, taking too much. Why I don't care too much what I do in this battle, because it's so hard to see where I can move and where I cannot move. But I think this guy actually cannot move really anywhere, so I'll just tell him to go ahead and attack this guy to stunlock him, since he's got a lot of life and I don't want him to interfere with my affairs. Actually, you know what? Yeah, it will also deal the most damage because it will be 2 tiles at the very least. Let's do just that, why not? I should be able to kill all the enemies anyway. You walk on this tower because I want you to have as much attack as possible. You stay where you are. I think... will this guy walk too far forward? It's hard to tell. Alright, you can walk over here. Let's say that that's what I want. And meanwhile, my militia is just going to go ahead and try to position itself optimally in, let's say, this kind of area-ish. And you also walk back so we can gain maximal charge. And I'll trust my units to do whatever they want. Again, I'm not planning too heavily, and I do not take great care in preserving my units' lives, because it's just... I mean, if they die, who cares? I'll notify their families. I'll not pay their families because, well, it's their fault for leaving their families and joining my war against some peaceful civilians that I attacked for no reason whatsoever. But, oh boy, that was a lot of damage that I dealt, was it? Well, whatever, those guys are apparently also very crappy soldiers, so why should I care if they die or not, right? It's all good in the neighborhood, and look at this charge damage, it's just beautiful. So the enemy stick has 4 rumblers, 1 is full health, some of are partially damaged, but either way this battle is going really well. Now in multiplayer I'll be able to let this battle resolve and in the meantime manage my empire. However, actually, can I still do this in single player? I'm no longer in the battle screen, but it looks like the battle is still resolving. I never actually tried this in single player. Can I still manage? Yes, I can still manage my empire and the battle will continue resolving on its own. Good, good. But is there anything I need to micromanage though? That is the question. Let's have a quick look at this city. It doesn't need to work on industry anymore, so let's go ahead. And as people are killing it themselves outside the borders, I'll just go ahead and make sure that all my people are giving me more money because I'm a selfish bastard like this. This city doesn't need more population right now. Let's just keep working on extra dust because I want to be able to buy out every single person and the structure on this entire world. People are dying, as you can see, that's very nice. I'm really liking this. I can manage my empire and look at the battle in the background. That is so nice, so nice. I thought it's only possible in multiplayer, I have to admit. I never realized that you can also do this in single player, which is kinda cool. Alright, this city does not have population just yet, but since it is almost there, I think I'll just go ahead and start making my borough streets already. So let's make the first one over here, because making the first one over here will give me access to 2 extra river towns, which is fairly important because this is again more food for me. And I need to go back to battle to assign some more targeting orders. Yeah, you guys do what you're doing, I trust you. I actually don't, I'll probably not get the best charge possible, but hey, I'm just so amazed that I can do this in single player. Just have a look, have a battle in the background, look at it and see people die, which is a really nice sight, but not be actually involved in it. Man, times like this, I feel like an evil emperor sitting on top of his throne and looking at his underlings dying for his name and just laughing at their pathetic nature. Yeah, I can dig it, it's really, really cool, in fact. Alright, so my units are just killing each other one by one, and is there anything else I need to do in this city? Not particularly, I just need to continue working on food as much as possible because the city does need to grow a little bit faster if at all possible. Have I won the battle yet? Yes, indeed I have. I lost a lot of units and they have taken a lot of damage. What a shame, I played this really poorly and you know what? I don't care. I could have played this battle way better, losing way less units, but I don't care. It's just a single explanation that I can continue using because, yeah, those are just minor factions and until someone declares war on me, which will not happen anytime soon, I can't even possibly use those Devils and Kasai in any way other than to fight neutrals, also them on the marketplace. And you see the amount of dust I'm gaining per turn, it's on the broker loads level of dust gain when considering the fact that it's only 1066. So no matter what, I can just go ahead and make my units die for me. And I'm doing this for my own personal satisfaction because I love just sending those people to die and be like, what of it? I mean, I gain a bit less dust, so... In multiplayer, I would probably be also on TeamSpeak and whatnot and just taunt my enemies, saying that I'm doing exactly what I'm doing and being like, yeah, I care so little about you, I can just sacrifice my units because you're not gonna attack me, you're not stupid, you're not... allow me to use my units against you, so just make them all die for no reason, which is really, really fun. Alrighty then, I think I can just go ahead and continue moving along like so. And wait a second, oh yeah, borough streets are like so. I'll actually go ahead and let this dervish finish. Actually, will I? Yeah, no, maybe. No, I will not let him finish. I still should be able Actually, this is quite far away. Yeah, I will let this dervish finish just because this will allow me to reinforce the army that is going to try and destroy this unspoiled ruins. So there is that. Is there anything else I need to do right now in this particular turn? I can go ahead and send this army to reinforce the army heading over there. So let's make it go like here. And this video guys was good enough. We haven't progressed actually too much turn-wise. But oh, finally! This is no longer winter. That is the reason why we haven't progressed much turn-wise, and my boosters ran out, which is a bit of a shame, because I cannot make things as quickly as I was... No, stop walking there. That was a misclick. Now I cannot make things as quickly as I was able to make them before, but I should still be able to produce things at a fairly amusingly fast fashion. So, all of my population is now... I now have 2 population, so I can just go ahead and walk on bar streets as fast as I possibly can, so... Let's make sure I made those in a single turn, that's all I need. And you know what, do I want to focus on something in particular or just food? You know what, I actually want to focus on science a little bit for the time being, since I have nothing else to do with this hero. So I will give him extra science population, like so. Apply. I have the titanium to spare, as you can see. And move all my armies that have some movement point left and the others skewed up. And I'll say my goodbye. It was PANCZASU, also known as the Mighty Mix Power. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you online.